My parents used to live in a small subdivision about 45 minutes outside of Seattle. According to them, it was a relatively normal middle-class development with decent neighbors. Of course, there were occasional scream-filled arguments from the newlyweds across the street, but nothing one would consider out of the ordinary. Tonight, they explained to me why they moved across the country to the outskirts of New York. My dad was really good friends with the family right next door, but the breadwinner was offered a posh new job in upstate New York. Damn it, Richard, so you're leaving us? Who's gonna host the 4th of July barbecue now? He was pretty upset, but Mom said he got over it pretty quickly. 3 weekends later, the Schneider's house was put up for sale, and they were long gone. My mom didn't really get along with the wife, so she was really excited to see who would move in next door to them, but the excitement was short-lived. There was something off-putting about them. That was my mom's reaction the first time she saw the new neighbors. They were constantly smiling. I mean, 24/7, the smiles never left their faces, and they were whiter than bed sheets. Like, they never went outside or something. My dad chimed in. Yeah, and your mother's not being over-judgmental either. They just looked different. That's the only way I can describe it to you. They didn't just write them off, though. My parents aren't like that. After they were situated in their new home, my mom baked them cookies and they both went over to introduce themselves. The new neighbors answered the door shoulder to shoulder, the thin-lipped smiles still plastered on their pale faces. My dad said they looked exhausted, but the grins still remained. Hey, how are ya? We live right next door. We thought we would introduce ourselves and welcome you to the neighborhood. Thank you. Please come inside, sir and ma'am. We like you, and you are welcome here always. My parents stayed for about an hour, and during the time, barely any words were exchanged. They both tried asking questions about their careers, previous locations, etc., but the only things they said were very short and vague. The questions were never reciprocated, and they sat on their couch shoulder to shoulder the entire time, even when my parents left their house. We sort of waited for them to walk us to the front door, but they just sat there. Okay, that's really strange, I said. Andrew, listen to us. This is just scratching the surface of who these people really were. The weeks that followed were surreal and terrifying. We decided we would tell you everything, but you have to promise us that you won't get scared or anything. I should have just walked out of the room at this point. Things started to become odd the third day they moved in. Before all of their boxes were even unpacked, the husband began painting their house exactly like my parents. Theirs was a light cream color with a thin blue stripe around the perimeter, and by the end of the day, so was the house next door. Apparently, my parents didn't bring it up right away. The next day, my dad was out mowing the lawn, and he saw the man. He was wearing the same hat and using the same brand and model of mower. That upset me, so I sort of confronted him about it. I wasn't aggressive or anything, but I insinuated on how there was no way this was just a coincidence, especially since he had painted his house like mine the day before. He just looked at me with that ominous smile and didn't say a word. It was weirding both of us out, so we watched them intently for a few weeks. It just got more and more insane as the days went by. A week after the house painting incident, the neighbors next door decided to purchase a new vehicle, and you guessed it, it was the same car as my parents. A 1987 BMW 3 Series convertible in red. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. The next day, my dad invited himself over to ask some questions. I just tagged along for the ride, my mom said. I was just curious as to what they had to say about all this. When they got there, the neighbors opened the door shoulder to shoulder just like they had last time, their smiles wider than ever. Welcome back, sir and ma'am. Yeah, okay. Can we talk for a second? I just need to ask you guys something. Yes, please, come in. They stepped inside and sat down with them. We were just wondering why you like copying us. I honestly just want to mind my own business, but it's getting kind of weird, wouldn't you agree? They paused for a moment, looking at each other, and responded, We like our neighbors. We like you. My dad noticed something was upsetting my mom at this point. Her face went flush, and she grabbed his leg. What's wrong? She whispered to him under her breath, James, we need to get out of here. We need to leave right now. Sorry guys, we need to go. My wife isn't feeling very well. They left in a hurry. My dad was flustered with my mom, asking her what the fuck was going on and why she got so upset all of a sudden. They got home and she slammed the door. Jesus Christ, James, Jesus Christ. What the hell's the matter? Can you please just tell me? My mom was almost in tears at this point. James, I looked into their bedroom. They had the door wide open. James, they have the same fucking bedroom as us. The comforter on their bed was the same pattern as ours. They have the same curtains on their windows and they have the same nightstand that we do. How the fuck did they know that? They've never been in our house before. What the fuck? Are you being serious? James, have they been inside our house? I asked them why they didn't just go back there and actually confront them or call the police, but they told me that they were just kind of in a stage of denial. They didn't want to believe this was actually happening, but they knew it was. They knew exactly what was going on. Neither of them got very much sleep that night. Right before they went to bed, my dad set up an old VHS camcorder on the table in the corner of their room facing their bedroom door. I just had to know, he said. My dad pulled out an old cardboard box of tapes and popped one into our VHS player. Watch this. He fast-forwarded the tape till about an hour in. I was in disbelief. The video showed the copycat neighbors standing at the edge of my parents' bed, shoulder to shoulder. Their smiles were gone. Instead, they had a murderous look on their faces, wrinkled and contorted. They just stood there, just watching my parents through the night until the grainy video cut out 3 hours in. I nearly had a heart attack when I watched the tape the next morning. I was scared and extremely angry. I grabbed my baseball bat and I sprinted over to the house. No one was answering, so I beat their door down. Jesus, what did you do to them? I asked. They were gone. All of their stuff was neatly boxed up in the living room. The BMW was still there, but they were gone and never came back. We filed a police report the next day. After we showed them the video, they worked extremely hard to find these people, whoever the hell they were, but there were no leads. The information they used to buy the house and the car were stolen from another couple from Arkansas, and there was nothing else on them. We got the hell out of the neighborhood and moved over here for peace of mind. Oh my God. I'm not even sure what to think right now. I'm so sorry. I was truly at a loss for words. I asked them why they waited so long to tell me the story. Do you remember our old neighbor Richard Snyder? Your dad still keeps in touch with him occasionally. Okay. He called last night and told us he had some new neighbors. The third day they were there, they painted their house, just like his.